In this video, I'll be showing you the 5 habits of quietly wealthy retirees, because the real giveaway of wealth in retirement, it's not luxury, it's calmness, it's flexibility, it's having options and zero financial urgency. Say it with me. Rich is fast and destructive. Wealth is slow and quiet. And that same slow and quietness that you implemented diligently during the decades of saving to get to retirement, it's that mentality, it's that discipline that's going to be so critical in your retirement. Now, through working with clients who built significant wealth without anyone around them ever knowing it, I've discovered that these wealthy retirees, they don't look or appear rich. Instead, they behave rich in the ways most people completely miss. And that's exactly why I'm making this video today, is to show you what these 5 habits look like so that you can begin to adopt them yourself and build the kind of quiet wealth that actually lasts. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, the first habit of quietly wealthy retirees is that they spend with intention, not emotionally. Listen, I get it. You've spent 30, even 40 years being disciplined and saving. And now that you're finally retired, you have time and money and you want to enjoy it. But without a plan, this is a very dangerous combination. Now, here's what separates wealthy retirees from everybody else, is that they have a plan, and most importantly, they stick to it. Now, big purchases, those are some of the best parts of retirement. Maybe you've been dreaming of buying that Cessna airplane for years, maybe even decades, or finally booking that 3-week European cruise. Those are really exciting things to have. And hear me out, please do that. Please enjoy that. But you have to remember that these big purchases absolutely need to be planned in advance. They need to be modeled out. And they overall have to fit within your retirement income plan. That's important, because to have the most successful retirement, no major purchase can be winged. In fact, the retirees that I've seen that are the most successful, they have everything calculated. And if something changes, they rerun it. And it's not being rigid, it's being able to have a game plan and to stick to it. Now, quick sidebar here. If you need help figuring out how much you can spend in retirement, you want to know the math behind that, how that changes when markets are up or down, or after big purchases, go ahead and click on this video here, where we show you how to build a 1-page financial plan and how to update it each and every year or during market movements. Now, what people often miss when they don't have a plan or they spend impulsively is that, number one, it triggers big taxes, whether that's capital gains and net investment income, or it's ordinary income. If it's from an IRA, a 401k, it puts you in a different tax bracket and it results in higher amount of taxes that you have to pay. That's more money coming out of your pocket, your wallet, your investment account. We don't want that. We want to have a game plan. Number 2, you could, by spending more without having a plan related to taxes, trigger IRMA, which means your monthly premiums from Medicare now just got that much more expensive because you communicated to the government by having a larger distribution, hey, we have more money, you can go ahead and raise my premiums. We don't want that. We want to have a plan. Now, number 3, if the market's down and you don't have a game plan and you're still pulling money out impulsively without that plan, you're now drawing from a declining account, which can permanently damage your overall financial plan and how much you could spend for the rest of your retirement. Because when our account goes from $2 million to 1.5 in a market drawdown, and we now spend maybe $200,000 without having a plan, we've negatively jeopardized how much we could spend for the rest of our retirement. We call this sequence of return risk. You see, emotional spending, it is the fastest way to destabilize, to unhinge any retirement plan. See, wealthy retirees, they treat their portfolio like a system, not a blank check. And it's that discipline that built your retirement to where it's at today that you have to protect it. So we have to spend with intention, not emotion, not without a plan. Now, it's the second habit here, we'll talk about in just a minute, that's really going to separate yourself from everybody else. The second habit of quietly wealthy retirees is that they obsess over taxes, because after all, it's not what you earn in your investment, but it's what you keep after taxes. Because keeping an extra 1% to 2%, And after-tax savings, that matters way more than chasing market performance, and it's easier. It's something that's actually in your control, because here's the reality. Returns, they're unpredictable. We don't know what's going to happen in the market next year, next week, 5 years from now. You can't control that. But tax efficiently, that's something you can control. Where you take your first dollar from, you can control it. How you save while you're still working, which accounts you save into, you can control it. Because distributions from your 401k, well, they're taxed at ordinary income. And that can be 22, 24, even 32%, depending on where you land. Whereas capital gains from your brokerage account, tax at 0, 15, 20, again, depending on your income. And that is a significant difference. I'd much rather have 0 to 15% than 22, 24, 32%. So we have to have a game plan. And where this comes into play is once you've calculated how much your portfolio can afford to give you in retirement, you need to account for taxes. And so we want to keep that number as low as possible from the tax side so that we can spend more money. Now, here's a perfect example. We're going to meet Bill. Bill is 65 years old. He just started taking Social Security. He's newly retired. He's got $2 million in his 401k. Great job, Bill. Now, Ted's also 65, same circumstances. He also has $2 million, but he's been able to save it intentionally. $1 million in his 401k account, $500,000 in a brokerage account, $250,000 in cash, and $250,000 in a Roth IRA. Bill and Ted, they have the exact same net worth, and they need to pull $7,500 out a month, about $90,000 in addition to their Social Security. Now, Bill, he's going to find himself in the 22% tax bracket, whereas Ted, he can afford to be flexible. He could be in the 0% tax bracket by choosing to pull money from his cash, his Roth IRA, or his brokerage account, or a combination of all three, because he has options. You see, Ted can manage exactly which bucket he uses, where he takes his money from, based on what keeps him in the lowest tax bracket that year because of this flexibility. And this overall, compared to our friend Bill, is going to end up saving Ted hundreds of thousands of dollars in lifetime taxes on his distribution. Because remember, retirement, it's about flexibility and options. So we have to have a game plan, we have to stick to it, and we have to implement it. The third habit of quietly wealthy retirees is that they protect flexibility above all else. And in retirement, flexibility, it's gold. Now, here's what most people miss. You see, flexibility, it's not just about having multiple account types like we talked about in number 2. It's way bigger than that. It's tax optimization, right? So having money in different buckets so you can control your tax bill. Number 2, it's spending flexibility, right? Being able to adjust your spending plan, knowing your higher and your lower number based off of how markets are performing. It's also Social Security timing and understanding when you're going to trigger that based off of, again, how markets are doing and how your portfolio is performing. If we need money sooner because markets are down, we have to have a game plan. It's also the ability to delay major purchases based off market circumstances. Again, all these things, it's having an if-then plan, and it needs to be built in there. But most of all, flexibility means that you're never trapped. You have options. Let me give you a story. See, markets tanked in 2022. And a retiree that had everything in their 401k, they have 2 terrible options like we saw with our friend Bill. They could sell low and unfortunately lock in losses, or they could desperately try and cut spending and hope things recover. And that's not a bad strategy. We'll talk more about that later. But a retiree like Ted, he has flexibility, right? We mentioned that earlier, but they could pull from cash and short-term bonds to let their 401k and those stocks recover. We've already talked about that. Number 2, this is where flexibility gets bigger. They could delay that big vacation till next year or when markets recover. They can claim Social Security early to reduce portfolio withdrawal and the stress that's putting on their portfolio because they have options. They've thought ahead. They can go back to work. They can work part-time. Because retirees who don't have a plan, they lose that flexibility when they need it most. And that's where stress begins to enter the picture. We don't want that. And if you want help building your dream retirement, right, stress-free, click on the link in the description below, and we will share details in a personalized Loom video walking you through exactly how you could build this plan, how you could build in flexibility, and how you can optimize your retirement plan so that you can apply this to your very own situation. The fourth habit of quietly wealthy retirees is that they avoid lifestyle inflation in retirement. And it happens slowly. We start spending more and more. We get more of what we call like the I deserves. And it's a real bear to get out of. Instead, what I want you to focus on is intentional spending. As author Ramit Sethi, author of I Will Teach You How to Be Rich, said this quote that I really love is spending extravagantly on the things you love and cutting costs ruthlessly on the things you don't. Now, again, this is the definition of being intentional and having a plan with your spending. So this is why testing your number on how much you can spend each and every year and sticking to it is so important. In fact, go watch that video again on how to calculate your number. Now, as we said, if markets or circumstances change, recalculate and adjust. In fact, if you need to make a big purchase, good for you. Recalculate and adjust your number so you know what you can spend moving forward. Markets crash, they're down by 30, 40%. What do? You recalculate and adjust. Okay, because knowing what you could spend and staying within your boundaries while your wealth grows is the way you build real security and a successful, stress-free retirement. And if you do this well, I have seen this, at some point you're going to get to the stage where your account growth is growing faster than what you can actually spend or what you could really even want to spend, right? Now, compare that to somebody who didn't have a plan. Maybe they retired at the same time, earlier, 55, 60, but they overspent. Now we're going to see that nasty ripple effect that sequence of return risk has, whether it's negative performance in the market or big distributions early on in retirement, and the damage overspending tends to have. They're not going to be in the same situation as our other retirees. Not to mention, if a nasty bear market comes and we've spent too much, this is really going to impact what we could spend later on in retirement. So again, we have to have flexibility and we have to allow lifestyle inflation or creep not to come into our plan. We have to stick to our number. Now, our last one that we're going to get to, see, quietly wealthy retirees, they stay quiet about their finances. They don't brag. They don't need to. They've already won the game. It's like we discussed at the beginning of this video. Being rich is fast. It's loud. That's not us. Wealth, real wealth, it's quiet. Wealth is long-term. It's sustainable. It's lasting. It's your life. It's nobody else's. And quietness, real quiet wealth, it's control. It's more valuable than any public validation. Now that you've seen these 5 habits of quietly wealthy retirees and how intentional spending, obsessing over taxes, creating flexibility, not allowing lifestyle creep to come in, and being private about all of this, how they work together to create that flexibility, options, and a stress-free retirement, you can start adopting these habits yourself to build the kind of wealth that actually lasts. And if you want help building that, that's what we're here for. Click on the link in the description below and we will send you a personalized Loom video walking you through your financial plan, how you could build these steps into your plan. Hope you found value in this video. We'll see you in the next one.